Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. How's Eddie Frederick?
So glad you can join us. Trinidad and Tobago in deep crisis as over 400 new positive cases of COVID-19 confirmed. This story takes the lead in our 1108th edition of Caribbean Perspective for Monday 10th May 2021. Details after this break.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. For the second time since September last year, Trinidad and Tobago has recorded 7 COVID-19 deaths in 1 day since the start of the pandemic. The 7 people lost their lives to the deadly virus between Friday and Saturday, while an additional 402 cases were recorded. Renessa Cutting of TV6 News has some details.
A total of 7 COVID-19 deaths over the last 24 hours has pushed the COVID death toll to 203. An additional 402 positive cases was recorded, bringing to 3,783 the total number of active COVID cases in the country. In its 4 p.m. update, the Ministry of Health notes that the number of cases reflects samples taken during the period May 5th to 7th. The update also indicates that there are 331 patients in hospital. On Friday, that figure was 330. This as the ministry has been warning that the parallel healthcare hospital system is nearing capacity. However, medical staff tell TV6 the system is already overwhelmed. Nurses report a ratio of 1 nurse to 45 COVID patients and confirm that a nurse was among the COVID fatalities on Tuesday. There are also unofficial reports at this time that a medical doctor passed away from the virus today. Renessa Cutting, TV6 News.
Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has called on those who do not need to move around for any essential reasons to batten down for the next 2 weeks. TV6's Jewel Brown reports.
Just try for one moment to choose the person in your family who you think you can do without right now. If you are required to surrender 1 or 2 to COVID, which 2? I know you might have some you want to get rid of, but everybody is loved. Everybody is loved.
The stark picture painted by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley during a news conference on Friday as his administration announced new and stricter measures as part of the lockdown meant to tackle the ongoing surge in COVID cases.
So, except for the absolute essentials of requirements to get food and water and electricity and pharmaceuticals and so on, and to keep the kind of livelihood to pay some of those bills, the rest of this country is to batten down for the next 2 weeks.
Health Ministry officials had a special plea to young adults.
We are now seeing a picture of a patient that is different in the peak that we experienced before. And that patient is somebody who most of us would know. It's a 30-year-old, a 35-year-old, a 40-year-old who is coming in very ill.
Dr. Trotman said COVID is now spreading in such a way that it is taking away the future of Trinidad and Tobago. There continues to be a grim assessment of the 542 hospital beds that the government said is in the parallel healthcare system.
The total occupancy being a blue line and generally increasing with some spikes, which correlates to a 24 to 48 hour gap after the cases that were running in the 300s this week. and you would see that the Trinidad occupancy continues to steadily increase. Right now, we are at 70% overall, which is the highest we have been since March 12, 2021.
Further data was provided to reinforce the point.
Purple line being current hospitalizations, and the red dotted line being the projected hospitalizations. We continue again along exactly the same curve. No slowing at this point in time, and in fact, there may be a little bit of an acceleration, meaning that the projected date that we gave of 7 to 10 days may actually be shorter.
The principal medical officer for institutions has said additional beds are being acquired for the Cora Hospital and 60 additional beds for the Arima Hospital. In response to a question from TV6 News, the health minister said elective or non-emergency surgeries are to be put on hold for the next 2 weeks to free up medical personnel and resources. The chief medical officer said another measure is also being taken.
What we have also done in terms of human resource capacity, the Defense Force, we have been in contact with the Defense Force, and they are willing to provide some support by way of medics as well as other persons in terms of security and drivers and those kinds of things. So expanding outside into the Defense Force.
And while the ongoing COVID surge in Trinidad and Tobago is certainly a medical emergency, the Prime Minister said he did not choose the option of a state of emergency, which includes a curfew.
I know there's a recommendation, or there has always been a recommendation, have a state of emergency. All a state of emergency does, in addition to this situation, is remove your rights. It doesn't make you any more responsible. It sweeps the right away and allows for certain other things to happen. But those things can happen without state of emergency.
Jewel Brown, TV6 News.
Britain has placed a number of Caribbean countries on its green list for travel, while Barbados was placed on the amber list. More in this Barbados Today news report.
Barbados was not listed among 12 countries on Britain's green list, part of a traffic light system of rules announced today as the UK moves to ease its ban on travel. Barbados and other Caribbean destinations are on the amber list, which will require Brits returning home from these countries to isolate from home for at least 5 days. Brits are advised not to travel to these destinations at this time. Brits visiting countries on the green list will not need to quarantine from May 17. Tourism Minister Senator Lisa Cummins says, while they were not expecting any significant rebound in travel from the UK until later this year, today's announcement will hurt the sector.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
The Barbados Today online news meantime reports that the alert level in St. Vincent and the Grenadines regarding the La Soufrière volcano has been moved from red to orange.
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, speaking on state radio on Thursday, said Cabinet made the decision a day earlier. The alert level was raised to red on April 8th when an evacuation order was given about 15 hours before the volcano erupted.
What that means, essentially, well, absolutely you can't go into the red zone unless you have permission by the state authorities. And all the orange zones, people can go and return. And we will publish this. But what we are saying that if you are in Chateaubelair, particularly the lower part of Chateaubelair and in Fitzhughes, that we do not want you to go back, and therefore we would prevent you from going back there, because we are doing the state, that is the police authorities, because we haven't finished the cleanup of all the ash which is there, and it doesn't make sense you going back with all the ash on the streets and so forth. All the way down to Fitzhughes, you have water is back, and electricity is back in those areas.
2 senior opposition members of parliament and 6 others have been charged for allegedly taking part in an illegal procession in Guyana. More details in this HGP Nightly Report with Travis Chase.
The police are acting at the behest of the PPP government. That's how Leader of the Opposition Joseph Harmon summed up the charges brought against opposition members of Parliament Annette Ferguson and Chief Whip Christopher Jones, who were among a group of persons charged Friday morning with taking part in an illegal procession.
This is really what is happening. The police are acting at the behest of the political administration. The two MPs that you have here, Annette Ferguson, she has a judgment against Jack Dio for $20 million. Christopher Jones has a matter in the High Court against them. Both of them will succeed. And so what they're doing now, they are using the police as a weapon.
The charge states that on April 26, between Crowell and Regent Street, Georgetown, they took part in the procession without permission of the Chief Officer of Police, having first been obtained. They all pleaded not guilty to the charge.
These are not just about ordinary charges. This is not about ordinary charges. So what we want the world to know, this is what it is. This is not just two ordinary charges. This is a part of a process of terrorizing the opposition, terrorizing the Guyanese public, terrorizing everybody who come against this installed regime.
Annette Ferguson, Christopher Jones, Mark Griffith, Gordon Lucas, Travis Ellis, and George Halley were jointly charged with the offense when they appeared before Senior Magistrate Leron Daly. Meanwhile, Ferguson was separately charged with obstructing a peace officer on April 26. Attorney for Jones, Ronald Daniels, believes that the charges have no legal standing.
Now, we are of the firm view that these charges are frivolous, they're vexatious, they have no basis in law or in fact, and they're perhaps motivated only by political considerations.
While the matters were adjourned until May 14, each of the defendants were released on $20,000 bail, while Ferguson was placed on an additional $10,000 bail for the obstruction charge. Darren Wade, one of the attorneys on the case, says the law under which his clients were charged is archaic. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Over in St. George's, health authorities were on Friday forced to shut down the operations of the Coconut Beach restaurant on Grandans Beach just hours after it hosted an event that was attended by more than 100 people. Grenada is currently under a state of emergency due to the pandemic, and as a result, the Emergency Powers Act was activated. The Emergency Powers Act regulations state that no person shall host or attend any event or gathering of any description apart from weddings and funerals. The numbers allowed for these events are 20, but special permission can be sought from the COVID-19 committee for an event in which the host would like to have an expanded number. Based on the size of the venue, the committee will adjust the number of people who can safely attend the event. The Public Health Act gives the CMO the authority to take action on any establishment or individual hosting an event that is in violation of the regulation. The letter did not state the length of time the restaurant will be shut down, but it's understood that the reopening will depend on the outcome of the discussion with health officials as well as the remedial training of staff to educate them about the COVID-19 protocols. This is the second restaurant that closed for violating the COVID-19 protocols, but others have received verbal warnings. Grenada now has one active case of the virus, and that person was caught at the border upon entry and is currently in isolation.
Did you know that your friends and family can now shop at the Food Fair from anywhere in the world, and you can receive here in Grenada? The Food Fair and GrenadaMarket.com now make it possible through secure online shopping and personalized customer service. Simply send your loved ones a list of your preferred items or let them fill an online basket, and the items will be available for pickup or delivery. Visit GrenadaMarket.com or thefoodfair.gd today for more details. The new norm. Spread the news.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.